Hello, my name is Brittany from Teach Blog Travel and TpT Seller Central, and today we're kind of going through a series for brand new sellers on Teachers Pay Teachers. I guess I shouldn't say today because it's over a series of different videos and podcast episodes. So today we're specifically talking about Clipart. Last episode was about fonts, so go back and check that one out if you haven't already. But today we're talking about Clipart. When I say Clipart, I mean anything that's been drawn, and we often don't think of this, or if you're my age or maybe a little bit older, when you hear Clipart, you might think of that really kind of scritchy, scratchy that we would get in Microsoft Word or in PowerPoint, but Clipart has come a long way since then. If you've ever bought a resource on Teachers Pay Teachers for yourself to use in the classroom, then Clipart is just anything that you've seen on the resources that's been part of the actual artwork. So it could be a diagram, a picture, it could really be just about anything because they can also be design elements too, like squares and borders, and even like tables could be technically considered Clipart. Someone is creating them. It's really, really important to talk about this because a lot of times new sellers don't quite understand intellectual property and copyright law and trademarks yet. And so what they'll often do is they'll just go on Google and search for, image of heart diagram. And so then they use that in their resource, but they don't actually have the license to use it. And so one thing that does is it kind of like doesn't build trust for your buyers and maybe other people who are in the community with you, other sellers. But another thing it does is if someone actually owns the commercial rights to that, and if you sell that resource and make some good money doing that, they can actually come after you and the money that you've earned, and that would be such a sad thing. I don't want for that to happen to you. So we want to make sure that a few different guidelines when we're looking for Clipart. Number one thing we need to make sure of, and this is the same whether it's fonts, Clipart, other design elements, templates, we want to make sure it's licensed for commercial use. It can be kind of confusing because a lot of sellers hear commercial use and think, oh, okay, well, I'm making it for a freebie, or if I'm using this to make a social media post, or like for an email, then I don't need to have commercial use licensing, right? Because I'm not making money from that product. But here's the thing. Since you're using that social media post, that email, that graphic, or whatever to build your business, to grow your email list, to get people to buy your products in the future, it technically is still for commercial use, even if that specific resource isn't going to bring you any money. Anytime you're searching for Clipart or fonts on Teachers Pay Teachers specifically, you always want to make sure that the terms of use say for commercial use, and in fact, if the terms of use document, or sometimes they'll put a separate listing on TpT about what their use is, I definitely highly recommend reading that because sometimes they have specific requirements for whether you use it in commercial use or for personal use. They might ask for you to link back to their store. So maybe in your resource you say, this person did the clip art and thank you, and then you put their logo and a link back to their store. Some clip artists might require that you just mention them and shout them out, or some might require that you're not require anything of you at all, and some might require something completely different. So you really want to make sure that you read those terms of use because it's not like there's only a few different types. There's basically limitless possibilities. Anybody can set any terms of use that they want for their products, and that goes for you too. And since we wouldn't want for someone to redistribute our work or, steal our work or not pay us or whatever, we don't want to do that to other sellers. So we always want to make sure that we follow the terms of use that sellers put forth. And that includes making sure that any commercial use products that we try to use are licensed for commercial use. Another thing to consider when you're buying Clipart is to make sure it says 300 DPI. Basically, this has to deal with the quality of the image because if you think about it, depending on what you're making, your Clipart might be stretched really, really big on the page. And if the quality is very low, it's gonna look blurry, which won't look professional or nice. So you wanna make sure that you have 300 DPI or higher image if you're buying Clipart, and if you're making Clipart, then you definitely wanna make sure that what you make is 300 DPI, if not better. You should note too that Teachers Pay Teachers is not the only place where you can get really quality commercial use Clipart for free. There's actually other places for that as well. But as I've said about fonts before too, Clipart is really, really good you want to go to Teachers Pay Teachers for Clipart for your resources for a couple of reasons. One, because the teachers who are buying your resources, they're used to seeing a particular type of style of clip art. And so if you use something different, I mean, that's totally fine. You can do that. But it just might be a little bit different for the person who's buying it. And that's okay, because maybe that's how you want to set yourself apart, but it's something to consider. I also personally really like to support other sellers on Teachers Pay Teachers. So if I've done business with a clip artist before and their work has been great, then I want to support them by continuing to, to support their work. And then in like a practical sense, it makes it easier for me, because if I have a credits page where I've already credited a certain clip artist, it just makes sense to keep using clip art from them, because then I don't have to keep remaking that page. That's one reason I'm such a big fan of templates, because once you create these pages that you can just use over and over again, you only have to make little tweaks if you, sign up with a new clip artist or buy someone else's new font or whatever. In the last episode, I mentioned that I have this awesome ultimate list of free fonts on Teachers Pay Teachers, where I actually direct you right to their listings. That way I can save you a ton of time of figuring out, like, is this font commercial use, or is this font personal use, or whatever. So be sure to grab that. I'll put that in the description of this video. But I know that if you are watching this or listening to this, then you probably need some clip art too. So I've also made an ultimate list of free clip art for commercial use on Teachers Pay Teachers. This is definitely a growing list, because the clip art is immense. So this is something that you'll want to make a copy, or you'll not want to make a copy of this one. You'll want to bookmark this page onto your bookmark browser, Google browser, and then just come back and check it from time to time, because as I find excellent free commercial use clip art, I'm going to add it to this resource. Well, that's pretty much it for today, but I want to make sure that you know other places where you can go to get help and support when it comes to building your TpT store. If you're not already following me on Instagram, you can find me at TeachBlogTravel. That's where you'll find about me and my store specifically. If you're just here for the TpT tips, no worries. You can go to TpT Seller Central on Instagram and find us there as well. Looking for more of a community, like maybe you're just looking for a place to ask questions and get inspiration and ideas, you can join our free Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/teachblogtravel, or you can search for TpT Seller Central on Facebook. Of course, if you're watching this on the YouTube video, you can always just drop your questions in the comments below. I do respond to everyone. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, I would so appreciate it, and then click on the little bell so that you never miss a notification of a new video. If you're listening to the podcast audio version of this, then I would so appreciate it if you would subscribe and follow this show if that's available on your platform, and give us a review. If you tag me on TeachBlogTravel or TpT Seller Central, I'll be sure to tag you back, and that way as I grow my audience, I can help you grow yours, so we can help us all get to earn more from our stores. I'll see you next time.